Hi, welcome back. It's Lionel, Tech Lead and partner at Westfall. And today we are adding from my last video where I talked about pricing your projects. Today we're going to go into 3 methods that I personally use to price my projects. They're quite well-known methods, but maybe you haven't heard about it, or maybe you're just jumping into this a little bit blind. So I'm going to give you a run through of them. I'm going to talk about the good and the bad and how to roll out these methods. So the first method is obviously called the comparison pricing method. So this one's pretty simple to roll out. What you do is you basically go online and you check what other people are charging. So this is the most common method, right? You get about 5 of the most common samples. Google will probably give you, let's say type WordPress rollout or something like that. You'll get a few of them, and some of these guys will put up websites with the pricing. You'll also see some of that information on Quora. What you do is just get a group of these things and then maybe take the average or take a rough idea of the range and then come up with your pricing. Now, the good thing about this method is that it's very simple. In fact, your clients are probably doing it, your competitors are probably doing it. It's very simple. You just go online. So that's very good. Number 2, it's very clean cut, fixed pricing, very easy for people to process. But here are the negative things, okay? The first thing is that it doesn't take into account specific quality of the product or the services that you're doing. So take, for example, if someone says, I'm going to set up a framework for you. What does that mean? What framework is it? Do you have some special secret sauce that you're rolling out and you're not charging for it? It also doesn't take into account quality of the rollout or the quality of the delivery, So that's one point. The other thing is that the pricing online may be misleading. So I know a lot of agencies, a lot of consultancies, they put a fixed price there, but then they have tag-ons, they have additional stuff, and there's a lot of cross-selling that happens during this. I think a lot of you might be familiar if you're doing a company, that if you engage some cheap vendor and then suddenly there's more charges there, they're not factored into the price, known as the plus plus. So let's say around your neighborhood, huge price war going on, insanity, quality. You'll see your average price just dropping over there. You guys will probably... So that is the negative, and that's why I would use this with a pinch of salt, with a lot of adjustment, okay? The second method is to combat this method, which is called the accounting method of pricing your project. So this is what you do is you basically look at all your cost factors that make up your project. So if you're talking about you need to spend 100 hours on this project, you need to spend $20 of APIs, you have some tooling in there. What you do is you add it all up and then you add a profit margin. Very important, add the profit margin in there. Otherwise, you're going to lose money. So this method has a couple of positives and a couple of negatives. The positive part is that it captures the real value you're adding to people and real value to your business. So you're not going to underprice yourself that often because you use this method. So that's the first part that's good. And it handles, so if you're going to spend 5 hours writing something compared to somebody who writes 1 hour and it's going to be much better, it really captures that value much more efficiently. And that's very good for if you've got sub costs or if you've got sub vendors that you're working with, it really captures that value very carefully. So that's good about it. The negative part is that first, it's a lot more work to do, okay? Clients don't like this. I've done this, I've broke it down to them. I constantly reference what my hourly rate is and my team's hourly rate is, and clients just glaze over on this kind of stuff because they like one price kind of concepts. So that's one of the negatives. You're gonna spend a little bit more time explaining the pricing to clients, but it might be worth it. And it may miss the market. So what am I talking about? Let's say your competitor is rolling out lots of these, instant build kind of stuff, especially in the WordPress market or the Wix market or Squarespace. They're spending very, very short amount of time and they're bringing the pricing down. You're on the accounting method and you haven't yet integrated this stuff. You may be losing a lot of business using the accounting method. One of the negative things, the market pricing might be coming down, it might be a tough market, and you're basically out overpricing yourself in that market. So that's the second point. The last method is the one that I talked about in the sharing. So the value sharing is the most complicated method. Basically, you look at what that project is worth to your client. Okay, so this is how you can actually have some participation in that project. The positives of this is that number one, you will get a significant upside for projects. So the other two methods, no matter how good the project is, right, you just basically earn whatever's on the on the receipt. That's it. This method, you capture that value a lot better. So if someone's making a lot of money, you're getting a lot of that. So that's the first point. The other benefit is that it's really tied to the real value of a project. And that's something that we all want to really align your services to, because you want to be aligned to the real value of what you're getting. Now, I'm going to give you a very good example that I came across recently, which is a guy who was selling solar panels. And this is exactly how he sold it. He said, look, if you install 40 solar panels, you're going to save $250 a month. And we cost about $10,000. Our payback is 4 years. Now, the negative of this is that number one, it's highly complicated. Okay, you have to be dealing with a client who actually knows the value of his project. And we know that's not many of those guys out there. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you end up with either rejecting a lot of projects because there's lots of people who build projects that have very little ROIs, or you end up working for projects that are not going anywhere. There's a mismatch all the time in terms of the value because the clients don't deliver it. So these are the three methods of valuation your services, how you want to charge. So I hope that gives you guys, especially those running your own consultancies or freelancers or even clients yourself, a good idea on the pricing, and you can make use of it the next time you look at your project. And that's the bottom line, because the tech lead said so.